Som har været på Brøndshøj.
So very good to see everybody. Thank you for this weekend, this premiere. It was very well organized and very good help from all of you guys. Without that, it would probably not have been as successful as it was. So he was very satisfied with the seminar. He was very happy, a bit touched as well, I think. So everything went very well. We had the opportunity to also give him a little bit more donation, so which was really, really good. He was happy about that. So the theme of the seminar was Ninjutsu, which is about all these natural aspects, natural flow. So it really means flowing water, drifting clouds. And that is why I hang this up, because this was actually Seno-sensei that encouraged me to have that made. It means Kami Nagara, which is the first sentence of this Kami Nagara, Ninjutsu. Yes. So yeah, then entering a Bujinkan dojo is really an amazing. You can just relax. I'll just talk a little bit about Bujinkan before we start. So it's really an amazing thing. Bujinkan really is true martial art. And by entering a Bujinkan dojo, you will automatically, if you put in the right effort, be a part of an amazing legacy with over 900 years of unbroken history from teacher to master. It's really not only a physical and technical martial arts, it's very spiritual, really. And it's in many ways quite mystical. When I first met this tradition, I was 13 years old, and I coincidentally found it from a book from Stephen Hayes, like some of you old guys probably have done as well. And from reading in that book, who should have thought that a couple of years later I would end up in Japan and gradually be accepted by the amazing teachers there, and to be a student and to be taught these amazing martial arts. It's quite an amazing story, and I remember first time I went to Japan, it was in '92. I was 21 years old, and I didn't know anything. I mean, I was a young, very thin, naive boy who went there, and I landed in Nagoya. Somebody knows Japan, you know Nagoya is totally far from where Soka lives, in Tokyo. So I ended up there, got a total culture shock. Every sign was in Japanese. I couldn't read Japanese, I did not speak Japanese, I did not know where to go or who to ask. People didn't speak English there at that time. Everything was a big mess, and I hadn't slept for a long time, I thought at that time. So anyway, I got some help to go to the Eno station from there, and then I was really tired. I had been awake for 36 hours, and I was just sitting on my suitcase, and I was looking around all these people at the Ueno station. And then I decided to ask, at first I called Soka, actually, because I had his number, so I called Soka. And he just said, okay, 9 o'clock tomorrow. So then I couldn't say more in Japanese, and he didn't say anything else, so he just hung up, and I had to find him before 9 o'clock next morning. So then I was sitting on this suitcase, and I was looking around, and I decided to ask a businessman. And he was very helpful, and it's a long story, but short, he just helped me to find the right train connections and a hotel so I could sleep until next day. And then it turned out that this guy that I chose to ask on the radio station, his cousin was a ninja and he knew Soka. So that is just how these things sometimes work. I mean, Japan is like 130 million people, and there's maybe how many people are training Japanese people who are practicing Bujinkan at that time? Not many. Today, also not many. It's maximum a couple of hundred people, right? And then at Ueno Station, which is the most busy station in the whole world, I think, then I end up asking the person whose cousin knows Soka and who trains with Soka. So this is very much related to this Kaminagara. I think it's really like guided from the Kami. Then I came to Noda, where Soka lived at that time, and I thought it was a small village with a couple of hundred people living there or something, but it turned out that it was a bit bigger. So I went out with my suitcase, dragged it after me, walked around for, I don't know, an hour or something, and then I just thought I would find Soka there. But I was young and naive, and then I decided after a long walk with this suitcase that I would ask a person. And then I asked an old Japanese guy. The only thing I could say was, Hatsumi Sensei wa doko desu ka? Where is Hatsumi Sensei? And then I asked this guy, and then he stretched out his arm and he pointed, and I turned my head, and 5 meters from me there was a big Bujin sign. So it turned out that I walked straight to his street in Noda, among 100,000 houses. And this is quite weird, huh? Then I went to knock on the door, and then it went off the door. Soka came out, and he was happy, he was smiling, and I remember the first thing I felt was like, I'm home. And then I felt, I'm super scared. And I remember I felt guilty when looking in his eyes, so I could not look him in the eyes. And but anyway, we went to the dojo and we trained, and it was amazing. And all these years has been totally amazing. And having Sven Erik here for the very likely the last time in Copenhagen was amazing. Yeah. So what I want to say with this is really that we are lucky to have Sven Erik as part of the dojo and have been able to practice these teachings for so many years. So what is, I mean, most of you guys met Soka. Half of the dojo here went to Japan and met Soka. And I remember when I started, I would have loved to have met Takematsu Sensei. Now some of you guys will not meet Soka. And it's okay, because Soka already gave us these teachings. He said, okay, so suddenly Takematsu was not there. And of course, everything is impermanent. It's the first rule of Toda Sensei. It has to do with this nature of impermanence. To be patient, and everything will pass, everything will change. Like a hinka in a natural technique, right? Everything will always change. So even though you have not met Soka, it's okay, because you have Uchi Sensei, you have Nakatsu Sensei, you have all the amazing Japanese teachers, and this is really what is most important. So to keep this art alive, the only thing that is important, except keep going, as Soka always says, is to have a connection to a teacher who has connection. That is really it. Have a connection, have a teacher, a good little teacher who has connection, had connection to Soka, or has connection now to some of the Japanese Shiteno, Nakatsu Sensei, Uchi Sensei, or some of the other high-level Japanese teachers who's been training Soka for many, many years. I think that is the most important thing, because that protects your practice. If you have this connection, you practice it, protect it. You are in that way that you will most likely be corrected if you walk a little bit too much in the wrong direction. As is very, very easy. I also walked wrong directions many times. But then Sven Erik just did like this. He just slapped me a little bit into the correct path. And that is the only thing that is important in a martial art like we have. Is to have this connection to a good living teacher. So ninjutsu, what is that really? It's so we always talk about the correct heart. So I think it's when I think about that, it's this benevolent heart, true, honest, sincere heart, and again, if you have a good teacher like Sven Erik, it's very visible. And we don't see it. It might be difficult to know what it is, but if we have a good teacher, we can see that. So, yeah. With that being said, let's practice. The dojo really is. The dojo is where we practice. It's not real life, but it is where we try to polish our soul, our hearts. Right? We don't kill each other in the dojo, but what we kill is our ego. So we try to be more and more selfless, because otherwise we cannot really learn this art. We have to empty the cup and do as good as we can what the sensei is teaching. So, okay, let's start. Since we have Finnish visitors, and I asked Ville what he thought would be good to do tonight, I would like you to start the training with something.
With something?
Yeah, something.
Okay. Start with a warm-up first with
No,
something?
no, just this. We just go some technique.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go with the 2 punches first.
Left, right?
So, we warm up like boom. Okay. When we go to the second time, you lay to a little bit to the side and move the shoulder down to take his balance. Then knee up from here, under the cheekbone, and then shoot up. Straight down. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's very good. Just a minute. Yeah.
So the idea is one punch and the other tries to do the same thing. Should I punch it?
Han startede i Kamai, faktisk. Jo. Yes. Starter med venstre.
So I'm aiming for this. You don't go in. Same side.
So, in real life, you don't have time to warm up before a fight. And soldiers often would talk about this in Japan. In Japan, we never warm up. We just start the training. And in Denmark, of course, many times we warm up. This class we don't warm up. And when we have a seminar, for example, with Frederiksberg, and if I'm in Japan or something, then I always use at least 1 hour to prepare my body before coming to practice. I know some of you guys, you come straight from work. It's not always possible, but at least you can do something on the way when you walk to the training, prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, calm the body down. This is also why we say It's also a way to enter the dojo, enter the training, so you're not surprised when you come. So, and then Sok also talked sometimes about how to warm up in a real fight. Not to throw yourself totally very hasty into the fight, but use the first minutes or first seconds in the fight at least to assess the situation. So now when we do this training, this technique really showed, use the time to really warm up your legs, because we are doing some very basic taijutsu movements. It's a really good chance to warm up the whole body and the legs and the mind also. Look what he shows. So please show it one more time, do it. And then look at it and please try to copy. And not only copy Ville, but also look at the attack. Both is important. Is it okay, or do you want to see it once more? Once more?
Always.
Always. Okay, once more. Okay, let's go. Yes. Yeah, and then the next punch comes to just move a little bit further back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
this, yes.
like that.
Yeah.
And then I go
Then you go
around.
Don't use so much power.
Okay.
Push a little bit this direction. Yeah, so this is the shape. Yes,
And then I go.
take the leg, yeah. And then you go this way. Look at the space to forward. Yes.
Sorry. I'm scared. Okay.
Once more. I don't reach him here, but he doesn't know what is coming. It might be something I throw to him at his eyes, so he's naturally turning away, turning his eyes a little bit also. He doesn't know what is coming, and that is what you use when you step into this position, right? So, yeah, when the punch is coming, boom. Some of you are just, if you stand still, boom, you're standing like this, nothing is happening, but in real life, if he's that close, his eye would, probably be damaged by my finger. Like it would go into the eye like this. So don't just stand there and wait. So again, look at these reactions. Like here, boom, this reaction. And this is what you capitalize on when you walk in like this. Walk in and walk down. Okay, let's go.
Like, oh, the outside, so I should be forward. Okay. Then I can do easier for the okay. Is that before you actually? Sorry? Okay. There's the one in the front, I will turn, right?
Okay, you're guarded, you're protected, you make some kind of movement, just check his body, because this is where you would naturally move from. His head is this direction, his pelvis is here, so it doesn't take much, you see, to continue in this way. And this is what is important. It's this natural hinker. Okay? So the punch is coming, you move the body, you're protected, and you make this type of movement. From here, you see, you don't use much force. Just placing your body in like this is enough. So I want you to study like this now. So from here, punch is coming, you move away, you punch and you're moving like this. So from here, you take his body like this. From here, you move here, this is protected, you punch down and you move your body in like this. Right? You can even walk on him like this. Once more. So this is guarding a little bit and you move the body, but this is staying. From here you lower the legs and step in. Then this hand is still occupying the space when I move in. Right? It's not moving, it's simply preventing him from moving. Continue forward, right? So from here, this is staying. You punch with the legs, this is still staying here. And then you can maneuver his structure. From here, you take this step. This is important because you if you can wait, you decide really. Here everything can happen. Okay? Here you have a little bit guard, and then you give him your face. Okay? So it's like the fight is here, and you give him the face, and then you move the body. Okay? Boom, and then you step in. So this here you guard everything, the hands, everything, and you have this spring here. So this is Kyo and Jutsu comes here. Understand? Once more, we do it very slowly. So from this position, you move the body, lower the legs. This goes for the face. It stays here, and I make sure I enter on the inside of this arm, like this. Then I move a little bit here. This looks like it's gonna hit him. So this is Kyo, then this is Jutsu. This time, right? It takes like this. Okay, let's go. Så kan jeg faktisk nøjes med bare at rocke tilbage. Det er nok. Bare at rocke tilbage. Men jeg tager et skridt. Så jeg rocker tilbage, så jeg er ude af, og så ændrer jeg benene sådan her. Det sker samtidig. Så.
Am I reacting too much?
Så kommer jeg det her. Ja. Men armen bliver her. Den tager spacet. Okay. Ligesom, det er, at jeg rykker tilbage på den her måde. Når slaget kommer, så rykker jeg kroppen og flyder med den rundt. Kroppen er den vej. Så den vej.
It might be better with the one further away.
Står du? Ja. Ja. Okay, so Det var godt til kameraet, det der.
This is correct, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you go on. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you have all these things here? And he needs to protect himself, right? Here. You can take out your big weapon like this. They do very, very good here. It's just in the middle, like if you had swords. Like this. This is what is important. So when the punch is coming here, you have all this. There's no fixation. Only listening to Uku's body. Where does he want to go with the next punch? And then you would help him in that direction. Okay, let's try that.
Down. Like this. Oh yeah.
Okay, knife. Let's take knife. For example, like this, right? So the initial technique was from this, and then some punch came next, and then you did something like this. But at the same time, you can actually take something. You might not have a weapon, but you might be close to this, right? So when you step back from the first punch, you grab something, and boom, and then you smash this into his face, right? And you can use this in many, many ways. So we don't need weapons. We have weapons in the dojo, of course, because real life, you never know. But in real life also, there's always something you can grab, okay? You might even have some keys in your pocket or something you can take out. So when he's punching and occupied with that, I already took my keys out. Maybe they are in a string, so I can... If you give him the kusari fundo, I can show this hanging one. This one is called kusari fundo. This is an original Japanese weapon with chain and two weights. So maybe suddenly I find this and then I can use this, right? And you can swing it around and you can take him down and you can finish the fight. Go home to your family, be safe. And you have not killed him, you have just...
Yeah.
It's very difficult to resist the natural tendency to check your weapon if you have a weapon on. So it's like sometimes you check if you put your mobile phone, if it's still there in the back pocket, right? You see people come walking, then they just check like this. They check here. Then the same natural tendency people have if they carry weapons. Okay, so if it's like hidden, as Philip says, you will see some unnatural hand movement from time to time. And this is how to spot really. And yeah, it's very important what you said. We never know these things, but we can sometimes pick them up by an unnatural way of moving. From a grab, because we did punches before, so maybe a grab and a punch. Takes hold on you and tries to hit you. Yes. Once more. Okay. One last time. Look at what is going on. Not so easy. Yes. See how he controls the situation. Did you get it? So this position. This is like or not do it now. Okay. So So move the body, boom, and then you move it. You break the arm here. Inside. Boom. Okay, let's go. How strong your opponent is. Maybe it's even dark. You don't really see who is grabbing you. And this guy is strong and solid. And if he pulls you in at the same time, and you want to do something, and you punch him, here it's like, boom! You get this in the face, right? It's impossible if you think you can do, like, step out and do like this. I'm getting, boom, this will, I will end up there. So you cannot, like, want anything. You can just move the body like this. Then you can start to, you know, do a lot of interesting stuff. Bang, 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 punching, jump away, save your life. Okay? So be neutral. He grabs you, he punches you, he does whatever he wants. From here, boom. You can use this like this. Right? But it comes from a natural position, not something you think about doing. Understand? So now he grabs you, he can sometimes he will grab and push, sometimes he will grab and pull you in like this, or he will maneuver you down or something, doesn't really matter. So he does whatever he wants, and he punches like this. And you end up like controlling him like this. And then you step on him several times until you're sure you can go home. So Henka is, as I see it, it's a part of it's the heart in the Shu-Hari. Shu is like we treasure the tradition. We teach it exactly as we were taught by our teachers. Don't make anything different. So Sogen never changed what he learned from Taiwan Sensei. He took it and he passed it on as it was. But life is always changing. So no attacker is the same, no environment is the same, everything is always different. So we use the form. The form is, for example, the kamae. This kamae. This is even like a natural standing position, not like this, or something like this. So you have like some form in your system, and then change naturally happens. So it's not something we should. Actually, the kanji for Henka, change, it means to naturally change, naturally transform. Change is transform. So it's without the self. It's not something we think. So naturally transform. This is Henka. What it really means. And transform. This is really like through the form. So we have the form, and then the form is changing. This is really Henka. So the form, it's only technique and body. You can drill, you can make the body like it should be, you can have the technique as it should be, you can do it 100,000 times and you will have a beautiful, nice form. But Henka is about Shin, it's about the spirit. So you will not be able to Henka if you don't have the Fudoshin and the Banpen Fugyo, stuff like that. This is Henka. So not having any ego, not wanting to change really. You understand? So now we are training not the form, but we use the form. So please do 2-3 times each, and then we're finished with this class. Okay, that's enough. Shigenara style, come here. Shigenara style, come here. Okay, great class. Thank you everybody for putting in some effort continuously, and see you next time. Okay.